Hey, hey, hey! It's the first ever real estate marathon. I'm your host, Jazz Takhar. Mr. Chris Slightham, thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure, Jazzy. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, before we get started, happy birthday to you. I won't go on because I don't want to get everyone to sign off. Happy birthday. Please, everyone, let's give a massive digital virtual birthday blessings to Mr. Chris Slightham. We are so fortunate to have him. And if I forget before we finish, make sure you tell Tia, your beautiful wife, and your two beautiful sons, Hudson and Beckett, thank you from REC, because we get to steal you away for 20 minutes. Thank you.
No, my pleasure, and thank you very much. We're supposed to keep that a secret. I think the less acknowledgement, maybe the fewer, the slower the years go by. I don't know, but
well, Chris, you're, to me, this is a very extra special day because not only is it your birthday, but it's my mom's birthday too. So happy birthday, Mommy! I hope she's watching. But again, I'm so excited to have you, Chris. I'm not sure if you heard kind of my intro to the marathoners. We're up to a little over. I think we're getting close to 2,000 people that are coming on right now. So we have a big audience. And I was speaking about creating generational wealth with real estate being a fantastic vehicle to do it. It's why I wanted to start off with you, because for me, and so everybody who's watching and listening, guys, like, this is the guy, him and his family. For myself, for CMOS and REC, this is who we look at and say, wow, we want to create that type of generational wealth, because now you can not only pass it on to Hudson and Beckett, but it can go on and on and on and on and on.
Absolutely. And you know, it's nice of you to say that I had something, that little part in it, but it is certainly generational, and we're very lucky to have the opportunity that we've had. We're lucky, I think, by fate to be in the marketplace we're in, although I think you can do this anywhere in the world with patience. And we're lucky to have had great teachers before us, both our grandfather and our father. My brother and I now are very involved and obviously running the business. And we're lucky to have this platform and the lessons that they've shared with us that we love sharing with everybody. And we're teaching our kids, and hopefully maybe someday some grandkids along the way as well.
Well, Chris, going back to, you mentioned it kind of started with your grandfather, and you spoke about lessons. What were a couple of those lessons that you learned from your grandfather? And obviously your father, I get to see your father a lot in and around the office. I never got the opportunity to meet your grandfather, but what were some of the lessons, my man?
Well, it really was lessons of patience. And I think that, not overextending things, not trying to rush, just really taking, as always, they say, the long view of things, and in time will take care of your real estate for you. And I think that's really one of the key lessons. And also to be very conservative. I mean, there's, they both, my father and grandfather were really thinking about, safely investing over the long term and managing in a comfortable way, because the only time really, it's interesting to say this, but the only time you lose in real estate is if you have to sell it, right? So if you can hold through those bumpy times, then life is good.
It's so forgiving. It's one of the main reasons why I love real estate. I mean, the Greater Toronto Area, and to our out of province and out of country listeners, I'm sorry already. I'll tell you up front, I'm very biased. I'm biased towards the GTA because I'm born and raised here, but it's made myself and all my investors a lot of money. It's created a lot of money, but it's so forgiving, right, Chris? Like, as long as you hold on to it, you'll go through those ups and downs, but as long as you hold on to it.
Absolutely, and that's been true for decades. I have one slide, or I have two slides to share with you today. If you want to do that, I don't know what your time is like.
Yeah, for sure. Bobby, can we bring up the screen that Chris wants to talk about? And Chris, just go right into it. And actually, while we bring this screen up, I really want you to also focus on, Chris, if you don't mind, just the strategy that yourself, your father, your grandfather, your brother, that you guys implement. It is, right, the buy and hold strategy, as we mentioned.
Absolutely. And that's absolutely true, Jazz. And that's really what we focus on is buy and hold. And we're not the only people on the planet that have figured this out. We've learned it from others. And I think that's really a critical message that we like to share with anybody who's interested in real estate is, that it treats you well over time. This is just a snapshot chart I'll show you because in the last 4 years we've had some interesting times in our marketplace where if you look back and I know you have this chart to share with everybody that you work with, and I know you do use it. And so this is from August 2016 to July 2020, the average sale price month to month. And the reason why I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot in a short period, and this is, to me, this is a short period of time, 4 years of real estate. And you'll see over around, January, February, March, and April of 2017 is when we had a little bit of a mini bubble, we'll call it, in our marketplace, or we felt that way. And you can see those 4 outlying dots there where things kind of got out of line. Then, people say, oh my gosh, what happens? The real estate's going down, and you look at the following months there and values came down. But then you look fast forward to today and you look at where we're at today already. We've actually in the GTA in the month of July of this year, even in the middle of this unprecedented time we're in, we have an average sale price that is the highest average sale price in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board statistics. So, there you go in that short period of time. And then, Bobby, if you can share the other chart, which gives you the long view, the truly long view, 40 years.
In the last month of July, because that's the stats that we have now, we saw a 17% increase year over year. How do you explain that, Chris? Like during a lockdown, a pandemic, something we've never seen. And I was trying not to use this word today. I think I promised my team, but it's unprecedented times. Like I tried not to use that word, but I have to use it anyways. Like, how do we explain a 17% increase?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jazz. And I think, a couple of things are definitely going in our favor. And this is where the long view, discussion comes in, is that when you have a marketplace, where we're in the case of the GTA we're talking about, that has such demand and population growth and future growth in its, for many, many years to come, I think that's where it comes from. And, we also have the benefit of we've had significantly lower interest rates, historically low interest rates, which is a great time to buy assets like real estate, where you can fix your debt for a long period of time at incredibly low rates. I think that's helping, and of course, supply. I think that's the other issue we have in Toronto, because of the fact that we're growing so quickly. We can't seem to keep up with the real estate supply, and that's causing it as well. So those 3 factors are probably the key for now. But just real quick on the long view here, and then you can share this if you'd like, is the average in there, that dotted line, the average. So, I joke that this looks like my heart rate after a cup of coffee in the morning. Very, very, kind of a spike there back in the late 80s. If anybody was investing at that point in time, or remember that period between 85 and 89, prices went bonkers. And then, of course, there had to be a bit of a correction there because things, as you know, average out over time. And you can see there was almost a decade of negative or low growth. But then, again, time heals all. You look at what's happened over the preceding from 2000 through to 2020. We've had bumps in the road along the way, but over time, look at what we've done since 1980 to 2019. We've had 6.73% average annual price appreciation throughout that time. And it's done, wonderful things for us. And that really helps people, I hope, understand the long-term consistency. If you had bought, in the peak of 1989 and you had to sell, of course, in the early 90s, then yes, it was a painful time. But if you held on to real estate today, you'll be thankful for that. And that's really, my message is really about that, the value of taking that long view. It's slow. It feels slow, I think, going into it. But as I think we all know now, especially, I guess, if you have kids running around or grandchildren running around, you know how quickly it seems life goes by, and all of us.
I always like to mention and say, Chris, with real estate investing, it's boring, right? Like it's watching like paint dry sometimes, or grass grow, right?
It is. It really is. And you have to, I think, have the patience for that. And I think, and that's what we were taught, by our dad and grandfather, is that you have to have patience. And if you have patience, the effect of, another thing my dad shared with us, the effect of compounding returns, right? So your 6.73 on average is compounding on top of itself every year. So, that little trick, if it's 7% a year, the prices double every 10 years, right? Is the rough math. So, and that's compound effect. And so, compound interest or compounding returns are really, where the secret is of real estate. And the fact that you can have very safe, they talk about healthy debt and unhealthy debt. Well, real estate is known as healthy debt because you have this ability to amortize it. So you pay a little bit off every month. So you're reducing your debt in a healthy way. You have a fixed rate that you can get. I mean, you can go variable, of course, and that depends on, but you can fix the rate. And you have an asset that appreciates over time, not depreciates. So, unlike a car, right? It's going to go down in value, but real estate's going to go up over time.
And I think my favorite part, like other than spending CMOS's money, which I did a lot of earlier today, with real estate investing, you get to use other people's money, i.e. the lenders, the banks. And it's not only just banks, the 5-6 majors, and then the private lenders, but there's going to be people here on our marathon. And this is more to the viewers and the listeners right now. It's why I want you guys to start networking with each other. There's people who need money. There's people who wanna give money, and we can put you guys in touch with each other. Chris, I also want to speak about diversification within kind of your portfolio, within the Slightham portfolio. Speak a little bit about diversification.
So, that's a great question. And for us, we have always focused on residential, and that's just, one thing is it's what we know. We've come to know over decades of.
Is that why you guys always focus on it? Sorry, because I was going to say, well, is it because it's what you know? It's what you know, right? And I think there's a bit of a lesson there. We have lots of friends that invest in different types of real estate and have been, wildly successful, very smart folks. And we have chosen the slow and steady, single, like residential real estate, where it may not be as glamorous, let's say, as owning an office building or a retail plaza or something along those lines. Not as sexy, right? I get it. It's not. It doesn't have that sex appeal. But we all know who won the race. The tortoise won the race. That's the way it's worked for us. And again, it's what we've known, and it works for our risk appetite as well. So we're kind of take a low risk view, and I always share my bias with everybody because I think it's important that you, as an individual investor, determine what your risk comfort level is and what you enjoy investing in. Industrial real estate right now is a very hot topic and something that I think deserves a lot of time and effort and education. That I would spend some time looking at industrial, as things are evolving in our world. They're not making any more industrial land, or very little of it. So you have a small supply of the type of land and a massive demand as distribution centers become more popular. The world of retail is changing dramatically. So, it's being delivered to your door now. Well, it all has to come from somewhere. And industrial is an interesting sector. So, diversification isn't a bad thing. I think it can work incredibly well. You have to get good at really understanding how to invest in different types of real estate. So it does take a tremendous amount of learning, which can be done. And so that can also reflect, we, as you mentioned earlier, we have a brokerage business. As we like to say, there's a finite amount of time that you have. And so you have to decide where to spend that time. And one of the greatest real estate investors that I personally know shared that with me. And he said to me, Chris, you have to really determine
where you want to spend your time, because that will determine the results you will have in that particular category of, whether it's you commit time to your family, you're going to have great results with your family. If you commit time to investing in real estate, or the job that you choose to do, or charity that you choose to give back to, wherever you invest your time the most, you will have, you'll have great results.
Now, Chris, I also want to go back to the supply and demand. You were sharing something with me, I think it was probably about 4, 5, 6 days ago, about the immigration that's coming into the greater Toronto area. And obviously, as of right now, as of this marathon, August 15th, we still are not seeing a lot of planes in the sky. So we're not seeing the amount of people that we had originally coming in. It's because it's on purpose. It's halted. We're not bringing people in. But you were sharing some stats with me, the forecasts with immigration coming into not only Canada, but specifically into the greater Toronto area. You mind just talking about that for a bit?
Sure, absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why, the long-term view of real estate in our market is incredibly bright, because of the planned strategy that Canada has on growing its population. And we heard recently that there have been 15% more visas approved year to date than there was at this point last year. The difference, as you pointed out, is people just can't physically get here. So, the target right now from the government of Canada is about 340,000 new immigrants to the country on an annualized basis. And their target, they're going to plan to grow that over time. We're lucky to be in the GTA, of course, which is, a lot of people want to be in the GTA. It has jobs. It has some of the best schools in the country. That combination alone, draws people from around the world. We have, globally recognized, schools in our country, whether it's, the U of T, whether it's Queen's University, McGill, UBC. I mean, these are globally just some of the globally recognized schools from coast to coast. And in Toronto, of course, we have, some of the largest and very popular. And so we have a lot of folks that are coming here to go to school. And one of, if not, we may be the only, if I'm not mistaken, country that provides the opportunity for you to immediately stay once you graduate with, once you've taken a full, course load here and achieved a designation, a degree at one of our universities, you're able to stay in Canada and welcomed to stay, which I think, if you think that through, it's absolutely brilliant. Here you're welcoming people that have chosen higher education, have really invested in themselves in your country, and you're saying, yeah, we want you to stay and please contribute your knowledge and your skills and your interests. And it's what I think makes our country so great. And our city, of course.
To that, Chris, I think the world needs more Canada, right? I think it's another example during this pandemic, and I know we're not fully out of it. That thank God that we're in phase 3 now here in Toronto. But I think the world's looked at Canada again and said, "Wow, how did you guys do it?" Because back in 2008, 2009, during the financial crisis, after that was complete, they looked at us and said, well, how did you guys get through it the way you did? There was a slight dip. I think it was 5, 6 months. But they looked at us and said, well, how did you guys get through the financial crisis? And well, because we're kind of conservative. That's why we always say sorry, maybe. It's one of those things, right? We're so conservative here that our banking system is ultra conservative. Just because you can walk, talk, and chew gum at the same time, that doesn't mean you're going to get a mortgage. Maybe on the south, the south side of us, that's how it went down there back in 08, 09. But here it was never like that. And so I have family still in India. We're talking about investing in real estate right now, but their lifelong dream is to come to this country, and they're trying to do anything and everything to come here. And so I'm so glad that the stats tell us that as well, because we need the people coming in here, which is great. And I think it just grows our country, and we need this dollar moving again as it has been. I mean, I was speaking about it before I brought you on, Chris. I mean, in this pandemic time, I think just our team at REC Canada, we did a little over $64 million in real estate. So we know a lot of people are investing.
Absolutely. And I think, you assume maybe going in a global crisis like we're in today, that everybody stops and does nothing. But that's not the case. And we've talked about it regularly over the years that in the toughest financial times, there are still people investing and choosing, to get into the market or to diversify their portfolio or add to their portfolio, or just to maybe upgrade their home, their personal residence, whatever it might be, and which is an investment in itself, right? I mean, if you have the ability right now to just upgrade your personal residence. We spent a lot of time in our homes in the last 5 months, and so we know them intimately.
Well, I think my wife started hating the sound of my blinking during this lockdown time. Like we're like, let's get bigger. Like we hear a lot of that now, right?
That's so, and because you also, I think, appreciate the value. It's, as we always say, it's one of the three necessities in life, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. And that's, shelter is what we're talking about here with real estate in terms of the residential component, of course, the business investment style as well. But really, that's what you're talking about. And so if you think about that on a long-term basis, it really is, it's proven itself to be a real winner.
Chris, I did mention it earlier, but you need to make sure you tell your beautiful wife, Tia, and your two boys a big thank you from us, because it is your birthday. I'm not sure what you have planned, but happy birthday from everyone here at REC Canada and all the marathoners. I will never forget this, because I sent you a text and you said, Jazz, I don't care what day, what time. You didn't tell me it was your birthday, but I did find out. Don't worry, I have my ways. And you still did this with us. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. One thing to leave with you, Jazz, I wanted to share one thing that I've been reminded recently, because people ask, well, when should I buy, or what, how do you time the market? And a great quote I was reminded of, which I'll leave with you now, is it's not timing the market, it's your time in the market. And I think that is something that needs to be reminded. I need to remember it as well regularly. You can't time the market, it's your time in the market. So something to keep in mind when you're thinking about real estate. And I hope everybody has a fabulous day. Jazz, congratulations. You guys are doing an incredible job. Education is so important, and that's what you guys focus on. And I know many people are benefiting from it. And really, I mean, to make this kind of commitment is just huge. So congratulations to you.
Well, make sure to go on and off with us, buddy. We're here for right till 9 p.m. Eastern. Love you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Great to see you guys. Have a great day.